Welcome to Center of Light. Keith Anthony Blanchard here, spiritual teacher, author, and host of Center of Light. Welcome to the program tonight. Center of Light. What is the Center of Light? It's the center of divine unfoldment and reinforcement. Wow. And all the bells and whistles that come with that. So what is it? It's everything. There's nothing else you want. Because in that thing, the game is over. So what I'm speaking about, there is something that lives inside of every human being. And it's all the same something. You are it. I am it. We are it. And there's nothing that is not it. In that place is where I'm headed. You can call it whatever you like. Jesus, God, a pizza, ice cream cone. It doesn't matter what it is. Because it's all the same thing, expressing itself in a myriad of ways. And when we understand that, we get in touch with that. Or just the wanting of it begins the whole process to unfold inside of you. So the work that is needed on one's part, it's not really a work, it's a joy. It's returning to your innocence, to be childlike, to want what you want because you want it and you can have it. How do you get it? Depends on each person's stance. But there is an underlying principle and a way to get there. It's the paradise that lies just beyond the fog. You never really get there, but you can kind of see. It's in arm's reach. So center of light, divine unfoldment, and reinforcement is that. It's a lamplight, it says. At least for me, I'm starting to see something. And it's not logic. It's right there. July 31st, 2020. 30 years of my life experience and tenfold experience has been fashioned into this book, worldwide distribution and publishing. Thank you, Gavin Lee Davis. 3,500. When you think of Keith Blanchard, you see a post of mine, just say 35, just say it out loud. 3,500, and your husband or wife will say, what'd you just say? I just said 3,500. Say it with me, honey. I say 3,500, you both say it together. That's all you got to do. And just think of me. So tonight, my guest on Center of Light Radio is Tom Schaefer, good friend of mine. I've never really met the cat. But he's actually my webmaster. Center of Light Live is coming soon. My website is going to marry with YouTube. My presentations are all going to be there. We're going to open up a merch store. I have merchandise. Yanava, Center of Light. You are loved beyond measure. Hashtag. It's coming soon. Lots of stuff. So I want to start sending you, please. My work's going to lean into YouTube. Please consider going to YouTube and subscribing. That's all you can do is hit subscribe. And if you don't have an account on YouTube to do such thing, just use your email account, type in it, done. Do that for me. That'd be awesome. Let me tell you about my guest tonight, webmaster. Excuse me, I'm trying to settle in. Let me tell you a little bit about my bro, Tom. I think I just did. In fact, I've been wanting to exercise this new thing, which is not introducing my guests, except, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Tom Schaefer. Tom, are you there, sir? There he is. He's out in space. I love it. Turn on your mic, my bro.
Yeah, there we go. I'm the he that is he. I'm here. We're live.
What galaxy are you in, sir?
That, I believe, some astronomer is probably going to call me out. I downloaded a picture of what I think is the Andromeda Galaxy, but it could be another one. Not sure.
It's fantastic. It's the exact galaxy I use in the opening trailer, story, whatever, prelude. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm just enjoying a rather cold Florida night. We're supposed to get down, I think, around, it could get as low as 34 for us, which is time to build igloos, get our snowshoes out, get our heavy parkas out. And all you guys come down here from up north and you guys are in shorts and flip-flops and we're all freezing, and you guys come down, it's like, yeah, it's nice out. So, yeah, so we're just chilling, enjoying the weather.
I'm gonna play something for the audience. Let's see. Everyone, check this out. This is why Tom's here. We got a discussion about something particular. Um, Check it out.
Planet Earth, a beautiful planet, a jewel in the cosmos. A planet in trouble because of its most intelligent species. An intelligent race on the verge of self-extinction. Mankind, left to himself, has almost succeeded in self-extinction. Are we destined for a dystopian future? Or can we imagine a different outcome? What if we had help from an advanced race who is ready, willing, and able to help us advance to the next level in our evolution? Two and the Collectors, a novel by Tom Schaefer. Available at Amazon.com.
I love it, bro. I love it. How well done is that? That's just like really, really, really cool. The voice is just when you hear the voice, it's like the screen behind you. You get pulled. Am I not on?
Oh, I'm muted. I didn't. I'm supposed to doing it, and then I forget to undo it. No, that's my friend down in Miami. His name's Tom Vernon that did the voiceover for that. The guy is just amazing voiceover talent, and he's done some voiceover stuff for some other people I know too. And so we became friends over the years. I think I've known Tom since about '07, and he's just got he's got that voice. And I said I kind of beg him, and finally he's like, okay, finally got it done. And it's a simple little trailer. I want to do a new one, and I'm probably going to rename that book, but we'll get into that as we go.
His voice pulls you in just like that star system behind you. It just takes you completely in. I like the trailer. Very well done, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's kind of simple, yeah, but as long as it does the job, right?
Yeah, you're right. Tom, which direction you want to go, bro? You and I have been wanting to connect for a while, and we had a couple of trials and they failed, and here we sit. So you wanted to tell me about this wonderful book. I did look at it on Amazon. Everyone, you can find it there. Is that right, my bro? Yeah.
That is correct. It's been sitting out there. I haven't really been marketing it heavily. I believe in the concept wholeheartedly, but what this book is what many people have told me. They said, and I don't know, and this is still for me is kind of like a what if, and that's okay because I love I love my imagination, and for me as a science fiction writer, your imagination's your friend, and in imagination land, anything is possible. And so I know that that's where this goes. This is all in imagination land.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said before I brought you onto the show. There's a place that it lives. It's beyond its imagination and all that. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, there are people that believe that in the multiverse, multiple universes, that there are Doppler universes where it isn't just a dream or a maybe or a daydream, but that if you can think it, it's happening somewhere. And I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty amazing. So I don't know. I have no way to prove or disprove, but there are people that believe that. So
Tell me about the title, bro.
two in the collectors. Two is a planet, and this planet. I'll just give you a brief synopsis of the story if you want. The
Sure.
story of Two in the Collectors is this story of an alien intervention to come and save mankind from itself. And a lot of people in the UFO or in the what if community don't think that the ETs will do this, that they have kind of a hands off. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to play with the idea anyway. And another common misconception, I think, in our society is the idea that utopia is just impossible. Now, when you get into the scientific definitions of utopia, you never can get there. It's kind of like it's like a division of divisions of divisions towards utopia, but nobody ever really gets there. You can, but the idea is that we should try to get there. If we're not even trying to get there, then we have a serious problem. And so, what I noticed around,
Excuse me, brother.
yeah, go ahead.
That was so powerful, what you just said. What is it? Important is that we choose to get there. Say that again, please.
We should reach for utopia. We should be reaching in that
Reaching.
direction. So what's the converse of that? Dystopia. And what is dystopia? Reaching for the going for the underground bunker, getting that thing stockpiled, getting ready for the big nuclear winter. That's dystopia. And that's where I saw around 2012, it became very apparent to me that, I don't know, it was like it wasn't that I had gone through an awakening, but I had gone into a noticing. I became very aware, and I began to imagine, well, why are we having a lot of the problems we're having? Because we can't get off this planet. We can't get off. And so the population's increasing. We're scrambling more and more for the precious resources that are here. And we're being told, you know, that we're overpopulating, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of different arguments either way about that. We are not evolving as a species at this point because we're locked to this planet. And as an exploring species, we love to explore. We need to be able to get off this planet. So anyway, so things like that began to cross my mind. And the idea that, well, if you could get off this planet, Tom, where would you go? Well, I'd want to go to a habitable, as they say in Star Trek land, a habitable Class M planet, someplace that can support life and have a wonderful tropical environment or a wonderful Midwestern environment, something beautiful. We all want to go there. And so I began to think about, what does that mean? And then this story began to unfold in my head, because I wasn't seeing any science fiction out there.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy.
That's right. Well, this story began to unfold in my head. I said, I wasn't seeing any science fiction out there that was bringing me there. Every science fiction show that was coming out around that time is still coming out, has massive amounts of violence going on, just really not really enlightened concepts. I think the closest thing I saw was Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, but even then they threw in some junk that was kind of stupid. But there was some great concepts in that movie about what may happen out there. Anyway, the collision of civilizations and disasters and things like that. And I just still hadn't seen anybody that explored the idea of mankind getting off this planet. What are some of the problems? I started looking at some of the problems, and I said, okay. And this story began to put itself together about this ET race coming from Andromeda, who were actually part of our development many, 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 many thousands of years ago. And they have been told to come back and clean up their mess that they left behind. Because the idea came to me that we as a species were kind of like the abandoned children of these genetic farmers. Now, what's interesting is Corey Goode got famous with about a year and a half later coming out with his stories, Corey's stories, about a galactic council and about galactic intervention and about this galactic perspective of planet Earth and what they think and what they're doing and why they're doing it. So a lot of these stories to me were fascinating. And again, as much as I think those are nice people, a lot of these secret space people and all this, I think some of these people seem genuine and they seem sincere, but I don't know. They don't have the evidence that we need to really say, yeah, this is a great thing that's going on. So I went ahead and I think I finished the book in about a year. It's about a 5-hour read. It's not a very long read. I think it goes pretty quick. And you learn, the story takes you into a couple of young people who are recruited into a secret program that is basically doing like a kind of an advanced version of American Pickers. They're going around and collecting things by orders of this secret space program that is being run by ETs. And this program has been running since about the last 70 years. And so the story goes into this planet that these ETs had been terraforming for their own use. It's about 2,500 light years from Earth, and it's a super Earth, and it's just about complete when these ETs find another ship coming from the Anunnaki homeworld. And there are people on that ship that are trying to escape, and they're humans trying to escape, because a lot of the lore about the Anunnaki is that they had human slaves. Well, they left the
My
planet.
son and I were talking about that today, in fact.
Well, they left the planet, so where did they go, and did they take any humans with them? What if? So, in this story, there is a ship of people escaping the Anunnaki homeworld who is picked up by a scout ship of these people that are being sent to intervene on Earth. And so things are stepped up a little bit more ahead of schedule than what they had planned, and they wind up colonizing this planet with these Anunnaki humans. And then they're told to also clean up the problem on Earth. So this book talks about the whole story, how these ETs disclose themselves to planet Earth, the logistics, the monstrous logistics involved in their disclosure and what they go through, but their capabilities. And so the capabilities they have are monstrous. They have giant spacecraft that are the size of our moon that they can use to terraform. So anyway, so there's a lot of secret space program lore. There's a lot of Star Trek-esque type aspects, but it takes place in our present time. So it's not happening 300 and 400 years in the future. It's happening now in our time, someplace we can relate to now. What if it happened now? What if all of a sudden these ETs showed up and they decided to park a few ships to take a tour? We're just here to help. We've got medical bays. We've got all kinds of things going on. Maybe we can help you out. And they begin to do that. And then they say, okay, listen, we'd like to bring you to this other planet for about a 3-day tour. If you'd like to come and check it out, you can always come back. You don't have to stay. You can come back. Because these people can wink in, wink out to any place in the known universe that they want to. So 2,500 light years is 5 minutes away. It takes longer to load everybody up than it does to get there. So
I love it. And see, it's already happening. I say this in all my presentations. It's happening. The utopian doorway is open. And the one that leads down the other way says that one's always been open, but the way out is in. And when we realize all the things that are taking place in the world, the universe, when we step back with perspective, Tom, I would assume you would think as well. When we step back with perspective and we look out and about and see the language beyond the dance and all the noise, there's something else happening. It's someone behind the scene or something behind the scene, and it's orchestrating everything. And the chosen people are those who choose to be chosen by recognizing that very language. Would you say that?
I would agree. There's been a hidden hand many people call the quote cabal, and there's a lot of different names and titles they've given to some of these.
Oh, excuse me. I'm this of the lighter, just a higher nature that's dancing all this energy together as
Right.
a play.
I agree. I think there's two hands. There's been the negative hand, which is what I was referring to a moment ago, but there is another positive hidden hand that seems to be gaining traction or having more influence. Would that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's for me. I'm doing everything I can to get out of what I think I know, and just let everything happen just in front of me. And it sounds like exactly what you're describing in your book. How long did it take you to write it?
It took me a year, not sitting straight at it, but you know how it is. You've got life that interrupts, and then there was a compulsion with it. And the interesting thing about it is there are story arcs in this book that were. I'm thinking, I'm not that good. This was too brilliant. I'm not that good. This is brilliant. So there's some really, in spite of my, I would say, I'm pretty tough on my own writing. I'm pretty tough on my own, what I think this thing is. And for me, a lot of it was for nothing else, understanding the writing process. I learned a lot through it. I learned how to do the self-publishing thing. I learned a lot about writer's world. And so, excuse me, I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to go back and refine it more. I want to change the title and make it a little more accessible. There's some story arc issues that I want to go in and clean up, but this first issue is what some have called a download. They said, "Well, no, Tom, this is a download, dude. Just as you got this, like just like came in, like because it was a lot of free stream information that came through, and the dialogue was was if I had heard it in my ear."
Would an overview word be what happened to you? Would an overview word be contact? That you made contact with something, a download from a source, a generator, an intelligence, something?
That's all I could say. And here's the thing: is I've never had an ET contact experience that I can remember, right? Because a lot of people have these experiences, but then you don't remember them. I have a lot of weird dreams. My friends will tell you I've just, every once in a while, I just have some very bizarre dreams. I did have an incident about a year ago, about a year in November. I just happened to lay down on the couch and was just kind of in that nice alpha state of meditation, just kind of chilling. I wasn't sleeping. And I had a glimpse of what I could only describe as a glimpse of the future. Because if you, like I said before, if you believe in the multiverse, you believe that it's all happening at once. We're just tuned into this frequency at this moment. We're on this Earth moment. We're doing this Earth thing at the moment. But there's this entire past, present, and future that's all happening simultaneously. We're just tapped into this moment. And so I had this glimpse of what I could only, what's weird about it is there were some corroborating features to this glimpse. And the glimpse was that I was in a spacecraft, and it was not like a NASA spacecraft. It was like a light ship. It was like those lights in the sky. I was in one, but I was in deep space, kind of like this image here. And we were going somewhere. I was with a couple other people, probably about 6, 7 other people. But they were light beings. Everybody in this adventure was light beings. And I looked out the window and I saw other light ships. So this perspective was, well, what's it like being in all that? Well, this was that moment where in the future we will probably be like what we see in the sky, which correlates to my book, because the sequel to the book is that Earth people begin to learn how to be the contacting race. Instead of being contacted and babysat and fixed, we go out. Anyway, so in this glimpse that I had, there were a couple of people there, and I said, "Who are you, and who am I?" And I asked just a quick question. They said, "We're your friends," and I said, "Really? What are your names?" And they gave me their names, and I said, "So what's my name?" And they gave me my name. And the name they gave me was Zahn. I'm like, okay, so I'm making this up. This is a pot dream. This is just, hallucination, whatever. So I went and I looked it up, and it was me. I was like, wow. So every once in a while, I think we get these things pop through. We don't know where they come from, and we don't know. I had never heard that name before. I'm like, what? But it had come through. And there's no scientific explanation. The consciousness of man is just so unknown. We just don't know. We don't know half of, even a speck of what we think we should know. We don't know what we don't know.
And then there's a greater universe behind all of that, which is a different type of vacuum, and you will never have the idea of it until you get at least up this level first. And it's just infinite. I mean, think of just about it's infinity. What is that? What is that? Something that just never started. It never started. Well, maybe it just happened that long ago. No, it just never started. You can't even begin to chew on something like that.
We can't wrap our minds around it because we've been put into this cast for this adventure. I was cast as Tom in this adventure, and I have yet to. I've only recently, in the last few years, started trying to understand concepts of reincarnation and past lives and all that. And some of that's kind of scary to me. I'm still at a place of like, I don't know if I want to know right now. So I've had a psychic tell me some things about what her impressions were. And for me, it was entertaining. It does nothing for me right now. Um, but I think those tools like that, understanding all of that, uh,
Just learning another aspect of your own self. It may not be
right.
interesting, but as long as you got some of the craft, you become a master of all crafts. Basically, you know how to use that tool if you ever need it. It's just a tool. It's just a mental tool or a spiritual tool. And so, this is part of. It's in my concept of being. So, because I'm having the thought, so why not use it to my expansion advantage?
It's signposts along the way is what I call it.
Yeah,
They're
right.
little they're little clues along, little breadcrumbs along the way that give us a little better understanding about who we are. But I think the thing we really want to know is, what am I doing here now? What's my purpose? And one of the things I kind of admire about you, Keith, is that you were willing to just totally, wholeheartedly, and I created this phrase, embrace your crazy. And that's something I'm learning how to do. That's why it was a big leap for me to even write the book, because I'd come from kind of a quiet place. For me, Twitter was like, why do I have to say anything? Do I have to say something? And yet at the same time, I've kind of come through all of this. I've learned that there are things that are important to me. There are concepts that are coming through, and I think I feel this uh, uh, desire to share and to kind of contribute and not just be on the sidelines. For some reason, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I don't fully understand all of it, to be quite honest.
What is the new world going to possibly look like? And I know we don't want to pigeonhole it, right? But just give me an idea, give me a theme, what it's going to look like, how we're going to move about. What is the story, our new story?
Well, I think we were already getting a glimpse of it now. It's going to be an all electric planet. You're not going to have the need for gasoline, petrol engines, or any of that kind of nonsense. Will have all drifted away. There will be, on this planet, there will be a big amusement park with collector cars and a 100-mile track. So if you want to get that feeling of being in a car, you go to the track, rent the car for the day, get your 100-mile drive in an old 57 Chevy. That, I think, that will be a form of entertainment in the future, to visit the past. On another planet, we might build towns from the past, Wild West towns, kind of like Westworld. Maybe not as whacked out as that was, but we will build places of our past as entertainment, because the things that we will have going for us will put us in a place where all of all of humanity's needs will be met, not on a merit system, but just because we are worthy by basis of being human, not because you had to earn it or prove it or go out and through any sorts of merit, but that you're a member of the species. And I think that on that planet, you're going to see a lot of education, a lot of schools, a lot of parks, a lot of nice places, just a lot of niceness. And I think we're going to leave this industrial consumptive thing behind, because one of the things we're going to have in that world is replication. Now, I don't know if people know what replicators are, but if you watch the Orville or if you watch Star Trek and they go over to the food thing that looks like a microwave and they push a button, they get chicken soup. They push a button, they get a pair of boots. Whatever they need is molecularly pulled out of a giant library. Anytime they need it, they just produce it from the energy available. And I think that's going to be a part of our future. The idea that we're going to have to keep manufacturing and
And Tom, I think something important I'd like to interject here and also
sure.
get a response from you. People says, what you just said sounds nuts. Then obviously we need to begin to peg. We need to call it for what it is. That means if anyone has an opinion about such a thing as impossible, or it's just really just reaching so into sci-fi, you truly don't have an understanding of physics nor the law of spirit. That is what it is. It's a fact, because if you did, you would go, oh my god, utopia. You would be one of the, oh my god, utopia is possible. In fact, I'm jumping on board.
Well, that's the thing. I came up with a concept. I don't know if I can totally own it or not, but in the book I call it the liberation of replication. Because if everybody has in their own home a dishwasher-sized replicator, there isn't really anything you're going to need to get through a mass consumer-based manufacturing system. You just get what you need when you need it. And if you need something bigger, you go to a bigger replicator. And I think there's going to be more natural products, more glass, wood, and metal than plastic. We're already starting to see a glimpse of that. People are getting sick and tired of these giant plastic gyres out in the ocean of all the waste. So I think on that planet, you're going to have, for example, let's say you go to the replicator, you want to get something to eat, and you could probably pull up from a library of gourmet meals that were already scanned into the system. And so you could pull up a lunch from some restaurant in Paris if you wanted, or breakfast from a diner in Peoria. If it's all scanned into the library, you're going to get it the way it was scanned in. And so replication will make meaningless things. Materialism will go by the wayside. You won't covet your neighbor's anything. You will be able to have on your wall a famous artifact from a famous dig, and it will be molecularly the same as the real one. And you can
Dig
have
that.
that sitting on your coffee
Dig
table.
that.
Okay. How about that? How about the ability to have famous paintings hanging on your walls that no
So
one
you're
can say?
saying that everything belongs to everyone. Everyone?
That's the liberation of
From the
replication.
chat room, Lincoln asked the question, my spirit says we'll be able to see the new earth before we inhabit it from this planet. Do you agree with that?
Well, in the quantum universe, anything's possible. So there's that. Okay. So
I love
it's
it. I
possible.
love it. I love it.
Yeah. I can't rule it out. I don't know. One thing I've learned through life is I've gotten a little older and I don't even have a problem saying anymore. I'm 61. I don't care. It is where I'm at. If you live long enough, you'll be this age. Or if you've already been here, I'm just a kid. So, you know, these the possibilities are endless out there. And I think that some of this technology already exists because just what's leaked out over the past probably 30 years in ufology, what has really come to the forefront, that there are these technologies. These replication technologies do exist. The teleportation, the ability to do the Star Trek thing. This stuff already exists. If you just do a search on Google for jump rooms to Mars, you'll hear about stories from people who claim that they've been doing this for decades, that this stuff has been around since the 50s and 60s. Dr. Stephen Greer talks about how anti-gravity was found back in the 30s. They figured it out. And so I think we have the ability to do it all without the ETs at this point. But I don't think we have the maturity. We're still children. We're consumer children. We're still staring at our phones. We're still fighting over red versus blue. We're still fighting over borders and countries and all of this. And we're all worried about a big new world order that's going to oppress us. So there's a lot of these things floating around that are inhibiting us from getting forward. But we have the technology. It's there. It's just been suppressed. That's my opinion.
It is. It's already there. The people, no good or bad, people behind the scenes already possess those technologies. They
Right.
all, they all, they sell you computer upgrade after computer upgrade. The one you're going to buy 20 years from now, they have stuff beyond that.
Well, the quantum computers now, the from everything that I'm reading, it's just taking everything to yet another astronomical level. And there are, the whole concept, I think it was Moore's law. And all these concepts get twisted and warped. Think about where we've gone in 150 years of automobiles, finally getting around to having electric vehicles. Why? Follow the money. That was inhibited because of the money. Um, Now we're getting towards electric. Now all the big Mercedes, BMW, of course we're doing electric. Whoever said we weren't going to do electric? Fortunately, we do have a kind of a modern Renaissance man with Elon Musk and his SpaceX and his Teslas, and he forced the question: and he forced the industry to change by saying we're going to do this, and he succeeded, and he's succeeding. So it is people like him that have said, you know what, we're not going to do the status quo anymore. We're going to go ahead and push it to the next envelope. So my book is an exploration into pushing the mindset away from dystopia, that these movies after game after first person shooter, just everybody in the rubble, everything looks like Aleppo and in Syria. It's just that's the world we're looking forward to. And sorry, my phone's.
I didn't catch that.
It went out, it triggered. Mine did that the other night on the show. It triggered.
You gotta turn it off. Sorry,
They are listening, bro.
Silent, but that wasn't
They're
enough.
listening.
Yeah.
They're
And there we go. Another one of those things in our society. The machines are listening. You know, not only is the phone listening, the Alexa or the Google or the Apple box or whatever, those things are listening too. And we're grabbing all this technology is just sweeping. And are we taking a deep breath? You know, that we. It could destroy us.
Tom, let's take a little break here. Everyone, Keith Anthony Blanchard hanging out with my friend, web designer as well. He's working on Center of Light Live coming soon. Bro, it looks fantastic. I'm excited about this unfoldment. And it's true, my son and I, we're having a blast hanging out with you. You getting your cray-cray on pretty good, bro.
That's it.
I've been watching.
I might have to write a book about that, embracing your crazy.
Embracing your crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be right back. Everyone, Keith Anthony Blanchard, Center of Light. It's good to see you tonight, hanging out with Tom. Two and the Collectors, talking about his book, as well as some other possibilities, probabilities, right? But we got to be the one to make them happen. Then they become factual, actual. Lavender Soap, be right back.
Remember that all things are possible. You must choose to be accountable, responsible, enough to believe, and open your heart to receive.
Above and look at your life, and you see the life you live. Can you be surprised that it all turned out this way and not the way you planned? It's about what you know and what you understand. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Learn to follow that inner voice inside. That's the one that's telling you not to run and hide. See what your life could be when you visualize. It's about what you choose that you'll realize. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice.
planet Earth, a beautiful planet, a jewel in the cosmos. A planet in trouble because of its most intelligent species. An intelligent race on the verge of self-extinction. Mankind, left to himself, has almost succeeded in self-extinction. Are we destined for a dystopian future? Or can we imagine a different outcome? What if we had help from an advanced race who is ready, willing, and able to help us advance to the next level in our evolution? 2 and the Collectors, a novel by Tom Schaefer. Available at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Center of Light Radio, hanging out with my bro Ham Sandwich. What's up, dude? You having a good time?
That's great. I have to compliment you, and I've told you this even off air. You've got great production on your show, Keith. Great stuff.
I thank you.
It shows.
I truly love what I do.
It shows you show thoughtfulness and preparation to your shows. I've watched them. Hey, I've learned from you, so this is great.
I am a character in your book, and you didn't even know it. I have that vision often that everyone shares. I see the city's the traffic lights, if there is such a thing, and we're using jewels. Let's just use a traffic light. It's easy, it's tangible. And so instead of 3 lights with a bulb in it, you have a garnet, you have a topaz, and you have an emerald, right? And everybody's sharing everything. And I when a little early when I wrote something down because you triggered something in me. It would be sort of a slogan: "Let's make unity, peace, and love infectious." And so I get that. And once it takes off, everyone's going to be like we were when we heard Facebook exists. Everybody's going to be jumping on the train. Everybody sees where the train's going, and the train's going to move very fast. Beg it, put your britches on, bitches. Can't hear you.
The old mute button again. Tom and his mute button. Well, the thing is that all of the great sages that have come to this planet, we haven't treated very well, and a lot of them we've killed. And so it seems like we keep going through these cycles where we never kind of get past, and then we blow up. And we never get past, and we blow up. And then we blame the previous generations. Why didn't they get it? And if you understand reincarnation, then we are those previous generations, you know? So we should begin to grow up spiritually and cosmically to where we're no longer a bunch of little kids with the car keys, bottle of whiskey, and dynamite in the trunk. Is what we become in the galactic perspective. Who are these people down here? They're trashing their planet with just wild abandon. They're burning up their resources. They're heading for calamity. There's always a scare of some major war going on with these people. People wonder why ETs have not come down here.
The way you describe it, your word usage, Tom, you select certain graphic words, and I don't mean graphic as in a harsh nature. It's so factual by saying this, that, and it's like this perspective that exists happens inside of you. Imagine if there was a higher beings of people and they are looking down. So imagine, you begin to imagine, to look through their eyes, what that would be.
It's the galactic perspective.
Yeah, so it puts every responsibility on everybody's lap. So it doesn't say the Democrats or the Republicans or the Muslims. It doesn't separate or segregate in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's just saying, as a world, we don't have to talk about the elite. We don't have to talk about the Illuminati and blame it on them. As a world, you guys are not doing it. Period. End of story. Everybody's responsible.
a lot of people, younger people in the audience, may not remember Carl Sagan, and he was mocked, but he was very sincere. And one of the things he came up with was this little treatise called The Pale Blue Dot. And he talked about the pale blue dot being Earth and what it was like to have a galactic perspective, that everything that we've ever fought about, everything we've ever loved and fought and died for and built on this little rock, this little microscopic piece of rock in this giant cosmos. It's just an amazing look up. If you for those of you out there, look up The Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan. I think I have a video of it in my Facebook group, and it's very, very poignant. It really points up the things, and I think he did this like 30 years ago, and it's just as relevant today. And he talks about, we lose we're down here on the ground spilling blood in the dirt, but we forget about the giant, bigger picture out there where we could be if we could unite as a species, get past all the secrecy, get all this stuff. Can you imagine volunteering for we need a guy to clean the ship, but you're going to get free liberty around all these planets that we're going to visit. We just need a guy to kind of, you don't mind cleaning staterooms, do you? Sign me up. I will work in the kitchen. I don't care.
They will definitely have to have a celestial bar on this ship, and I'll be the acoustic player, and I'll make my living and have fun and have a
I got no problem. You want me to polish the brass? I will polish. Just get me on board. I want to go. People would no longer care about fighting over the turf they are fighting over on this planet. This planet would vacate. It would vacate quickly.
That is such an amazing point. Let's play with an idea, everyone. Tom just tossed a volley to me, so I'm going to swat it back. If everyone was privy to the idea, it's been cosmically disclosed. Everyone, here's the deal. This is what's going on. You can pay $500 and go on a 2-week, whatever, and you get out in space. You're so true. It's so true. This world will become completely desolate. There would be not a creature on this planet except the creatures on the planet.
You want to have a little compound? You like your little compound out here in the Everglades? You like your little compound out there in the middle of wherever? Great. We got some planets out there. If you want a 100 square mile plot, here you go. Get to work. So, and I'll take this a little bit more serious. We would no longer be interested in concepts of abortion. That would go out of style so fast. Because if you're going to colonize, you need humans. And then if you get into that moment where we are leaving the planet, well, we've already solved problems like feeding and clothing our own. Because you can't undertake a big mission like that without understanding that we're going to have to take care of our own species from a completely different perspective. A perspective that says it's not about merit, it's about citizenship in the DNA of humanity. And therefore, as members of that club, that's it. That's all you had to do to get in, is just be alive. That we're going to take care of you as a species. We're going to take care of our own. We could right now feed, clothe, and shelter every human on this planet if we wanted to. If we wanted to. Resources have already been set aside. The warehouses are already full. Everybody can be supplied if we wanted to. It's just about if we want to. And we haven't reached that point yet where we want to, but I think with a lot of the good things that are happening, people are tired of the status quo. Populism is the big question. Now, the answers we're getting to populism are not necessarily the right answers, but populism, people wanting to break out of the status quo, that's humanity's big push right now.
That is the force of a greater will that exists inside of everyone. It is natural for a mother of a child to simply be a mother with force if she needs be. And I mean that in a very divine way, because mothers are a powerful energy, but I see that energy as that kind of divine mother winding its way through every soul on the planet and say, listen guys, time to get up. The alarm clock went off. I'm knocking you on your head. And we can either go into the flow consciously, or we can resist it and become like stones in a moving river and become rapids and cause trouble. It's really easy. It's not hard.
Well, I think that it's really that I think it's one of the biggest problems, getting back to what I was saying earlier, is that if we can't as a species get off this planet, we're prisoners here. And as much as I wasn't really a fan of his, Alex Jones coined the phrase prison planet, was very apropos. But that embracing that continuously, though, that thought seems to kind of bring it. And so what I want to do is say, okay, wait a minute now. I'm not going to think about a prison planet. I'm going to think about getting off. And you know what? There are people, if you look at the canon of ET lore, of all the abduction stories, of all the contact experiences that people have had in the past 30, 40, 50, 75 years, 100 years, whatever, the cumulative effect of these people's stories is that they exist, that they get here in a moment's time and they can leave in a moment's time. And I think that once the disclosure, we had a guest on my show last week, Stephen Bassett, and he talked about the truth embargo and about this is a guy that's been campaigning, I think he said, for 23 years, along with other people in that community, to get disclosure. Once we get that disclosure, these faster than light technologies, or not faster than light, but time space warp technologies, where you basically pop in and pop out within the cosmic web, those technologies are going to be available. That all could happen in the next 10 years. There are stories that people have out on the internet right now that there are these giant spacecraft that could take several thousand people at a time anywhere. And if these people have been at it for who knows how long, how much have they mapped of space? That what are we going to go out there and try to catch up? We'll never catch up with these people. We need to enlist their help.
I think a lot of people are think it's tough to really want to move into like this is actually going on. It's because we are looking from the perspective of I am here now and this goes down a timeline towards a future. That does not exist. Everything is happening right here in this moment, and this has been going on beyond your mind, billions, trillions, quadrillions, quintillions, and so forth. This has been going on. It never started. So there are beings and technologies that exist that, one, it humbles us and allows us to see in our humility, which creates, ironically, a bigger perspective. That universe behind you, that galaxy behind you, it's just saying, I exist. What is it that you don't see?
I just want to hit the button.
We're
and
children
go.
of God, children of light, children of power, children of might. And it's about joining forces, becoming back to center. God would be the center like the galaxy, and unifying in such a way that we shine so much light that there's nothing else that exists.
Very true. Very true. And that's the thing. We get bogged down in the weeds here. And we can't see the way, can't see the light, and so that's why I keep harping on the whole concept of getting, we go where we want to go. Sometimes we're led where we want to be led, and those of us that can tell a good story, I think storytelling down through the ages is one of the most masterful ways that humans can communicate to each other through story. And so you have a lot of ancient writings, the Bible, other writings that tell these stories. And I forget, a friend of mine many years ago told me, he said there's like a certain sets of stories that will generally be told. And so our ability to tell stories now is unlimited. We can tell these stories and lead people into something more positive, or we can tell stories that lead them into something more negative. For example, I don't think we need any more horror movies. I don't think we need any more. I just don't think we don't need it as a species. And and I believe in freedom and free speech and all this kind of stuff, and people's artistic expression, and their need to just go see a gory movie. But I think as a species, does it really help us evolve up? Are these kinds of things helping, or could we create?
Why are we still focused on it? Simply, just why are we entertaining such nonsense?
Yeah, it's ludicrousness. And so I think to myself, well, why not do something entertaining? Let's show people what a future could be. Let's talk about a future we could have. Let's explore the architecture. Let's think about, well, no, wait a minute now. If we could do this, that, and the other, what would that world be like? And I think we need to daydream on those kind of things. Just never stop daydreaming about it. Just think about a really nice future we could have as humanity, as a spacefaring people. We're explorers by nature. I mean, we all love to take a good day trip and go check out maybe an area of our state we haven't been to, or go check out or fly or go to another place on the planet and go see something different. We love to do that when we can afford it. Imagine if we could just go through a giant library of planets to go take a look at. Within a moment's notice, be there. I think that world would be infinitely more fun.
That technology is there. Maybe people
Yeah.
may think this is not this is happening. This is happening. You have to want to explore the rabbit hole to find the rat. You got to want it. You got to chase that bunny all the way to the magic. When you find the magic, something inside, Tom, I'm sure you would say yes. There's when you find the magic, you might be onto something. That's cool. So you keep following, and then you get a no. But when you find it, something will say, bing, and you can never deny that ever again. Would that be how it works for you?
Yeah, that's
Or
what
at least we're close.
I think what you're talking about is having a knowing about something where you know that you know, not really, nobody can take it away from you.
Yeah.
I think so. I think if we, a lot of this is coming through for people. I've talked to people who have no desire to even explore some of these topics, and they ask me, okay, wait a minute, I know something is happening here. And I'm sure this is happening for folks like yourself. I mean, people are having experiences they can't fully understand. So we're moving, I think, into an age now of personal disclosure about these things, about cosmic awareness, about cosmic awakenings, consciousness, higher states of consciousness, ET contact. All this kind of stuff is no longer mocked as pseudoscience, but it's now entering the mainstream in a way that it's become household understanding. I hear people using the term mindfulness now. I never heard that years ago. Now people are talking about being mindful. Okay, that's in the common vernacular. You never heard that years ago. Years ago, that was just a bunch of hippie nonsense. You know, now that a lot of that hippie nonsense is saving people's sanity. People are finding that a lot of that hippie nonsense is much better than the big pharma. It's much better than the cold steel of some of these other things of modern medicine. You know, people are dabbling in the metaphysical. They're actually getting results. We're going to get to a place, I think, as a species where these things become so commonplace. But I think we've had all these self-limiting beliefs, you know.
I think people are finally seeing the light, including myself. I think we are collectively starting. That ball is rolling. I feel it. I think many people are feeling it.
It's a good thing. So I call myself kind of an Imagineer, and so I love going down this path. I love good science fiction. I love even some bad science fiction, because they're asking a question, what if? And if it's good science fiction going in a really good direction, even there've been some modern romances that were wrapped with science fiction, like that movie Passengers, where these people are on, I don't know if you saw that or not, with, what's her name? She was a famous actress in, can't remember, Game Show Fail. Anyway, a couple of great people, actors in it that were kind of in what they call being in stasis, where you go into a pod and you're put to sleep, and then this ship goes through the universe. You know, it takes an incredibly long amount of time, and when we get there, we'll wake you up. Well, these people wake up early. The first one wakes up by accident, and there's a whole story that's wrapped around the science fiction, and even that to me is entertaining. So what they can do now in Hollywood with special effects is just over the top. There's nothing that can't be done if you want to imaginate, kind of a twist on the word, if you want to Imagineer a world or a thought or a concept, the film industry now, there's literally nothing they can't do on film. It's just utterly amazing. Even now, these deep fakes, that kind of stuff. Well, a lot of the technology, it's out there. So
It's making itself known. It's making its beautiful or disastrous self known. It's just a raw idea that we all are trying to spin. It's a different kind of technology. You have to use your mind, not have it use you. First, you have to say, who is this being that owns that mind? That is the first and foremost question that anyone should ever ask. Who is this me? Well, who's this me that owns this arm? I want to know who that me is that's playing the landlord of this body.
It's
That's
your
a
meat
different.
suit.
That's a different kind of technology. So we call this word inspiration. Can't we get into inspiration and stay in that living stream? And when we do, we have all this at our disposal. Every thought possible is just there, waiting for some engineer to fashion it.
Well, another beautiful thing about the technology is getting out of the way more and allowing the creative to be more expressive. I remember the late Stan Lee saying one time about the Spider-Man movies. He said, I just didn't want them going to film. They just couldn't do what I knew my character could do. Well, now, look at the Spider-Man movies. He does exactly what he does in the comics. So the technology's there to spin good ideas or bad ideas. It's the yin and yang of the universe, the same with the technology. Are we going to just make crazy movies? But I have noticed that a lot of the superhero movies that have come out have had a lot of advanced concepts in them that I would call some new age concepts. Look at Doctor Strange. Look at the Green
I
Lantern.
loved it. I loved
Okay.
that movie.
You saw Doctor Strange?
Yeah, my son and I, we love it.
Yeah,
We might watch it.
it's
We
that
might watch
guy,
it tonight.
it's-
We might
it's-
watch it tonight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was amazing. That's another one. Inception was another one. And Inception was such a mind bender, to think, okay, we're gonna go deeper and deeper and deeper within dreams. That was just very bizarre. But
Have you ever done that in your life? Had a dream within a dream within a dream kind of thing? At least 2 or 3 of them.
I would have to say I've had recurring dreams. I may have had one, but I couldn't tell you offhand.
It's strange. It is strange, but then you get expanded forevermore, because once you get a glimpse into that, then you truly know it exists. Versus, I strongly have a feeling about it.
I had a dream
You can't
that
undo it. You can't undo it. I'm sorry.
I had a dream that I got up and went to work, and I was still sleeping. But that dream.
Yeah, right.
I woke up and I'm like, I gotta go. But yeah. Yeah, dreams is a strange world because, so often dreams overlap into a lot of these new cosmic things that are happening with astral projection and astral travel and ET contact that's occurring in dreams. There are people being contacted that way. So the dream world, we just don't know anything. You have to go to people that really study that stuff to really get a better understanding. And it's not something I would call myself anything more than a dreamer about.
Yeah, and every generation, it seems, the technology, the think tank, the level of awareness to truly understand the ability that people and groups have the capacity to heal. We learn more about this particular art, like you just described. Oh, wow. And then you pass what you know on to your child when they're only 5, right? And so the flower just keeps unfolding, unfolding, unfolding. I definitely believe that we are in space already, for many different reasons, for different shade purposes, different agendas. I do believe there are others here. I know personally from a fact, I had a alien human hybrid friend who lived on Earth that I was able to befriend for 4.5 years. Lost touch. 14 years later, was contacted again. Many nighttime experiences aboard a craft. His craft. He is known as a galactic cop, I guess you can say. He is head of security in this quadrant of our galaxy. His name is Nucleus 8. Long story short, so I know they're here. They are here. And I also believe truly that we are there. that humans truly occupy local space. What are your thoughts on that, my friend? Do you have the same kind of energy moving inside you in the form of a question?
You're crazy, man. That's crazy talk. And I totally agree. I do. I think that it insults the intelligence of those who have those of us who have tried to scratch the surface. You and I talked about watching the Corey Good stories, those testimonies and things that they talk about. You know, like I said earlier, I don't know if any of that's true, but this is a guy putting himself on the line with a pretty big story. And a few of these other people. I interviewed a guy named Randy Kramer who claims to have been a part of the Martian Defense Force.
I like Randy. I like them
He's
all.
a nice
Really.
guy.
I like Randy.
He's a nice guy. I don't have any problem with Randy. He speaks in a common, sane voice, and if this is a delusion, it's a wonderful one. And that's a lot of times what I call some of these things my wonderful delusion. You know, because I have no traditional proof of proving any of this stuff any more than these guys do. This stuff that I get in my head and I want to talk about, this book I write, and all the stuff I'm doing with my shows and entertaining these ideas and believing many of them. Yeah, it's a little crazy, but you know what? It's harmless. You know, you can say it's harmless fun and it's a hobby and that's fine. Or
it's a beautiful possibility. It's a
Absolutely.
beautiful possibility.
Absolutely.
And it's
yeah,
like, I'm sorry, please continue.
No, I'm sorry. I do believe, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like a carrot that just simply dangles in front of all of our noses. And are we going to bite what are we doing?
Well, I think the thing is what people have been conditioned to have kind of the the newscast where they cue up the X-Files music, and then the local newscaster talks about strange lights above the mountains, and okay, and then they do the X-Files music, and the bubblehead next to him says something silly about, well, that's just amazing. Do you think it could be ETs? And then they giggle and they go on to the sports coming up next. You know, it's just this banality that it's been given, so people have a tendency to mock it. And this ridicule factor has been, some have said this was part of the psyop, that this was put out there by these alphabet soup agencies to get the public to just laugh at it. Okay, just get them to mock it. Make it cost people their grants, their tenure, their jobs, their security clearances, if they even mention any of this stuff. Their educational grants, all of it out the window. No scientist will ever talk about UFOs. Why? Because they'll take everything away from him. And so we have this culture of this, what Stephen Bassett was calling the truth embargo. And, I think that it's okay to say it. The common sense factor is really starting to ring loud with people. It's kind of like, look at this picture back here. The chances of it being empty space, 0. Each one of those bright dots represents a star, and a star system of planets of which the odds of habitable worlds now, I think they've mapped a couple of thousand of them out there. NASA's put an incredible amount of money into the James Webb telescope now to replace the Hubble, so that they can get a better picture and a better idea of what other habitable worlds are out there. So, and then we're finding out that we've got a lot more habitable space here within our own solar system with Europa and with Mars. So I think that it's going to take more than rocket engines to get there. I think we need the real stuff, the real ET stuff, the anti-gravity stuff, the point-to-point, the non-locality based stuff. That's the stuff we need to really skip past all this rocket engines. I live 20 miles south of the rockets, and yeah, it's still ancient technology. Chemical explosion at the back end of a pipe. It's still ancient technology. It's 1,000 years old. Chinese invented rockets how long ago? It's 1,000-year-old. They've just refined it, and it sure is cool when Musk can land that first stage back down and the nice little 3-point landing. It's glorious. But they're going to put 100 people on a pad, right, and go to Mars, right? You're going to put 100 people above this giant bomb. And we've calculated the odds that it's not going to blow up. Everybody just relax. It's not going to blow up. We got a crew and jettison system. But really, it's just so antiquated. when we know, I think if I was Elon Musk, I would be pushing, and I'd have another little lab over
He
here.
might be. He might be.
I hope he is. I hope he's got
He
another little
look.
that works.
He might be, and also being restrained. He might be like in that movie Contact. No one knew they built that second pod.
Exactly.
Exactly. See what I'm
so.
saying? I love it.
He's toying around with anti-gravity. There's a kid in Russia. I don't know if it's a kid, young guy in Russia. If you look up, his name is Alexei. If you look, it's Alexei Flying Craft. Okay. This guy figured out how to make electrostatic anti-gravity work. He's got two contra-rotating platters, and he injects a Tesla coil, and this thing takes off. And I don't know why nobody has said much about it. He provides the schematics and the plans. But I think with the technology, the way it's going to be harder to suppress the physics and the technologies, because what he's able to build from scrap parts that he put together just from, using off-the-shelf technology, more and more people are going to start these there's a lot of little backyard labs out there, people doing little free energy experiments, people doing little magnetic motor generator experiments. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that going on. You can see videos of these guys building and lathing parts. So there's an incredible amount of creativity going on that I think all of this technology is actually going to help disclose itself. That more and more people with the accessibility, I mean, you can go down to Harbor Freight and get a boatload of tools for dirt cheap. What it costs to set up a shop when I was a kid, for the price of tools to set up a small shop in your garage, that was an investment. Now you go down to Harbor Freight and you get tools and stuff for dirt cheap. There's stuff you can get on Amazon or Alibaba. The technology is dirt cheap and available, the availability of it. More and more people can afford to experiment, research, do their own builds, do their own stuff in their own homes. And I have a feeling a lot of this technology will come to the fore. Stuff like this guy that developed a generator that I think was used with Lindbergh on his transatlantic flight. Another game show fail for Tom. I forget the guy's name. But this guy, it's a German name, came up with this free energy device that generated power that wasn't a perpetual motion machine, but it generated power for Lindbergh on his transatlantic flight. So there's a lot of this stuff that's been, it's getting rediscovered. It's getting rediscovered. And I think the Tesla papers, I think some of them have been released. So a lot of this information is going to get out to people young people that can take it, grab it, and run with it. So I'm looking forward to this next future. If we don't blow ourselves up, I'm looking forward to it. So
I was about to ask you that very question. It's just a guy to guy kind of talk. We ain't got to be etiquette or proper.
Right.
10 years from now, for me, I see things changing. I see a divide. Just people are grouping up. People are just going to fall into groups that we already do. People go dancing, they hang out with dancers. People who go hunting, they go hunting.
Right.
But I'm talking in a political way. It's going to have an edge to it. And those who are going to be in the juice and not the rot are those who simply just choose to be a part of getting out of the old world paradigm. I so agree with your work. I personally, it's my vision as well, and it's in fact, I have no way out of it. So, what about your new work coming up, bro?
Well, I've got a couple other ideas as far as I've got a sequel and a prequel for Two in the Collectors, and the prequel is about the race of people that are coming to help humanity. It's more about them and about their ways, and I haven't gotten a full digest on that. And then the sequel is about kind of like 10 years after this giant disclosure and this mass movement of humanity to this other planet, this resettling that's going on, and this kind of an awakening overnight, but at the same time realizing what a great future now. So people are, well, now what do you do with yourself if you leave this planet and you go to that planet? What do you do? What's your life going to be? Well, you don't even have to stay on that planet, because once that opens up, the rest of it opens up. So in my book, this planet basically becomes kind of like a giant rehab, and then humanity's going to go from there, and you'll be able to team up. Like I said, if you want to be just the dishwasher or you want to be a scientist, or you just want to be an explorer, somebody that just wants to go see, a tourist, you'll be able to do all of those things. And so it's just going to be so much bigger than what we have right now. I just think, like you said, future's going to be a little dicey right now because pressure cookers are on. Games are being played. It's a giant risk board.
And when we understand that and not react to it, in our understanding, we know when to step in and when to step out. And it makes the role just a little easier. Tom, thank you for joining me on Center of Light Radio, brother. Would you like to leave us with a statement, sir? I've been posting your web your web address into the forum all night long. So everyone, please feel free to go stomp all over Tom internet-wise. Check him out. Freepeopleofthecosmos.org. Freepeopleofthecosmos.org. What a fantastic title, man. I love your vision, bro. I love your vision behind you. It looks fantastic. I love that you're passionate about that. That's great.
Well, it's just kind of been what's handed to me, and what can I do to, the idea is to advance human consciousness and to promote and educate and inform. And those are my gifts, and that's what I'm going to use them for.
Thank you for joining me, brother. Keep us
Thank you,
posted
man.
on what you're doing. You're always welcome to come back. Everyone,
Well, you're going to be back on my show too. We got to
Let's.
get you booked back in. So
Yeah, soon. I love what you do,
Absolutely.
man. Keep pushing. I loved your story, dude. I really connected to it. It felt like my life being told differently. I think you did. You did. You son of a gun. You did send me a copy.
I did.
You sure did. Everyone, my bro, he's over here. This guy.
Yeah, it's
is
available
handsome.
on Amazon if you want it. In fact, I would probably, if anybody wants to read it, I don't care about even giving it away. I'll send you a PDF if you really want to read it. It's going to get rewritten. It's going to get changed up. There's some issues with it that it's, like I said, it was free streamed, and I left it pretty much the way it came to me. And so if you want that curiosity, you want to satisfy that curiosity, I'll be more than happy to send it to anybody that's curious. So
Everyone, the links are in the forum. Keith Anthony Blanchard, Tom Schaefer. Tonight we have been speaking to Tom about his book, Two and the Collectors. He said, I got lots more. Stay tuned, basically what he's saying. So we're going to leave you with this. Keith Anthony Blanchard, Center of Light Radio. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself. There are some links in here that support my work going to YouTube. New website via Tom as webmaster. I've been doing the work. All of my work is going there. Go to YouTube. Please subscribe. My YouTube and my website are going to be married. I'm going to have specials. Certain people get perks. Certain people get part of this and that. But we're going to have a merch, a grocery store. Yeah, let's have some groceries. I like food. Me and my son, all we do, Tom, is eat pizza and watch movies.
it's the pizza diet. I came up with the potato chip diet.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next time.
Everyone, see you soon. Keith Anthony Blanchard. Peace, love, and light. Check this out.
Planet Earth, a beautiful planet, a jewel in the cosmos. A planet in trouble because of its most intelligent species. An intelligent race on the verge of self-extinction. Mankind, left to himself, has almost succeeded in self-extinction. Are we destined for a dystopian future? Or can we imagine a different outcome? What if we had help from an advanced race who is ready, willing, and able to help us advance to the next level in our evolution? Two and the Collectors, a novel by Tom Schaefer. Available at Amazon.com.